A loyal man never needs to be watched, because his heart already has eyes for what's good. In a world that celebrates temptation and filthfulness, loyalty is like a rebellion. Most men ultimately just stay loyal because it's easy. Only when they're seen, only when people applaud them for it. But the true test, the true masculinity, comes from being loyal when no one's watching. Real strength isn't shown in your presence, but it's shown when you're completely alone. Howdy, my name is Nolan T. Painter, an aspiring young man with aspirations greater than anyone will ever understand, and in today's video I want to talk about the power of loyalty, especially staying true in our disloyal world. And from that intro I talked about being loyal when no one's seeing you, being loyal when you're never applauded. And that's significant because when do people cheat? When no one's watching. When do people fail? When no one's watching. When do people lust and watch pornography? When no one's watching. So you need to be loyal. You need to be strong, especially when you're alone, and even when you're even when you're single. And that loyalty will breed a love that is stronger than anything else in this world. So let's look at the age of loyalty. In fact, I'd like to say the age of disloyalty. How no one in this generation is loyal as much as they should be. So our modern culture, the kids these days I may say, celebrate impulsiveness. So going to parties, going and drinking, just acting because you feel like it. And they excuse selfishness as self-expression. So what I'm saying by that is people like to excuse their horrible acts or just doing something because they feel like it, being selfish, as self-expression. Some girls saying, oh yeah, I posted a bikini picture of my butt on Instagram because I felt good. Or a guy saying, I went to a party and screwed some random chick because, I felt like it'd be cool. People making excuses, rather ridiculous excuses, as reasons to do horrible things. And that comes from the impulsiveness, which is the idea of just doing something because you feel like it in the moment. And you need to be so loyal to the people that you crush, you destroy your impulsiveness. Even if your partner is being rather impulsive with you, you need to be loyal to yourself to the point where you're able to stand firm. I'll discuss that later though. Additionally though, within our disloyal world, relationships are transactional. Someone left a comment on one of my other videos saying, oh, you believe relationships are transactional. And I did explain it rather poorly in that video, but I'd like to double down and say, no, relationships are not transactional. Absolutely not. A good relationship is one that is loyal to the point where a man is sacrificial even if he gets nothing in return. That's masculine love anyways. One of the two key points of masculine love is sacrifice, appreciation, and sacrifice. Sacrifice means doing something when you're getting nothing in return, or oftentimes when you're losing something. And that sacrificial love is the opposite of impulsiveness and the opposite of transaction because you're not getting anything from it. Right? Loyalty becomes optional in your transaction because when you're having a transactional relationship, as soon as you're not getting anything, you're not loyal, which is stupid. And then of course, people say they want loyalty, but they post lust, right? Like the girls who post like bikini and disgusting pictures on their Instagram, and then they say, men are crappy because they're always lusting after me. Or guys who post pump pictures on their Instagram, and then their comments are flooded with a bunch of horny young girls. And it's like, how are you being faithful to your partner, right? I wouldn't want to post muscle pictures, though I'm not the biggest. I think I have enough that it'd be rather interesting. But I'm not going to post that stuff. I'm never going to try and draw attention to my body. Especially not on the internet. Absolutely not. Because I would never in a million years want my partner to post bikini pictures. In fact, I might not even want my partner to wear a bikini in real life. I wouldn't want myself to be out shirtless in public. I would want to practice a bit of restraint here. Because my body is only for her and God. And her body is only for me and God. Right? And I want to stay in privilege and in, happiness and in fulfillment. That my body is hers only. And her body is mine only on this world. And that comes through avoiding the temptation of posting yourself in public because you felt good about yourself. People say that all the time. Yeah, I took this picture of my butt and shared it because it felt good. You know what feels good? Having a real loving relationship that doesn't involve lust. Anyways, people nowadays are disloyal because they have a fear of missing out. They have FOMO, the fear of missing out. And they replaced this peace with a commitment to nothingness. Right now, you should be committed to your partner, but what are people committed to nowadays? Nothingness. They're committed to going to a party and sleeping around because they might miss out on the, cute girl who've been screwed 1,000 times that night. Maybe her cum-lated pussy would be nice if I went, right? Or I want to go drink. Let me share another beer at the party and I'll get drunk and then I'll try and drive home, or I'll walk home with my buddies at 3 in the morning. Or, I'll go have fun. Yeah, I don't need to do that test tomorrow and study for it. Like, get a life. Get a life. As Pope, not Pope, was it Bishop? I don't even know if it's Bishop. Pardon me, I completely ruined it. But as Mr. Mar Maria Manuel would say, the famous guy on TikTok and Instagram, get a life. Get a life. I don't think he's definitely not the Pope. I don't know if I think he's a bishop. Might want to clarify that one, so I apologize. But as he famously says, get a life. So don't be the person who's committed to this nonsense. And what are you missing out on? Like, what are you missing out on? Sleeping with a girl who is gonna let anyone sleep with her? Right? But why would you want that? Having a drink and getting drunk? Why would you want that? What are you missing out on? Smoking and doing weed? Like, taking dope? Like, you're not missing out on anything, man. Like, what is there to miss out on? You know what you are missing out on? A beautiful relationship and a beautiful life. So stop concerning yourself and being afraid of missing out with nonsense, because that's literally what it is. And I know that example was extreme, but it's fitting because I'm going to a university filled with that stuff. I see it all the time. And then people like to forget about it. Come November 1st, all of a sudden all that crap disappears and it's like, oh wow, it's normal life. But no, that stuff doesn't leave you. It's disgusting. And a man without loyalty, which is oftentimes most men in our society, what he does is he chases freedom, but he loses respect. And here's the thing, in freedom, you're given a choice. A true masculine man takes the right choice, which means actually choosing, desiring, and wanting to do the right thing for his partner, even if he doesn't have one, so then his future partner, rather than doing the things that he so desires naturally and instinctually, like lusting or going to parties because he might miss out. So what does loyalty really mean? Right, I just crapped on a bunch of stuff about loyalty, but what really is loyalty? Well, loyalty is not just sexual faithfulness, so not lusting when you're in a relationship with a beautiful woman, or not sleeping around with other people when you know you should be preserving yourself. It's emotional consistency, which means, if she's upset, you're calm. If she's happy, you're rooted in this calmness. If you're upset, you need to calm yourself. If you're happy, you need to remind yourself the truth. I always like to use the analogy being this giant steel beam in the center of an ocean. You're hit with waves of all sorts of sizes. Maybe it's a calm day, maybe there's a storm, maybe you're struck by lightning, maybe there's thunder, you never know. But the point is that pole is rooted to the center of the earth, it's grounded, and it's never going to sway, never going to sway, never going to lean. And in that analogy, if you want a woman to lean on you, you can't already be leaning, you have to be firm. And what you need to realize from this is it's okay for men to be emotional, it's okay for us to be vulnerable at times, it's okay for us to express ourselves and have sadness and grief and happiness and being excited, and even being like lusting and stuff. Like, that's natural for a man, but you need to control it. So you can recognize those things, right? The pole knows when it's struck and the pole knows when it's hit by waves, but it doesn't move, so you can't be moved by it. And that doesn't mean you're not allowed to ever discuss these things. Just think of it this way. If you have a really heavy thing on your heart, are you going to tell it when you're having a nice moment with your girl? No, you don't want to ruin the moment. Girls are all about the moment, so don't ruin it. And if your girl's yelling at you, if she's really upset, are you going to say that thing? No, you're going to make it way worse. So a good man is going to find time outside to talk about those things. And you're doing two things there. Number one, you're not adjusting a moment that's already impactful. And two, you're setting aside another point which gives a specified, controlled environment where you can literally grow your relationship with your partner because you're discussing something that is significant. Very important stuff. So essentially, you're not just doing sexual faithfulness, you are having emotional consistency. And in that consistency is discipline. So when you're in a relationship, you're not being stagnant. In this discipline, you're actually increasing. You're not just going like this, you're going boom, 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 boom. You're actually increasing. So you might learn something this week, you might learn something the next week, you might learn something the next month or whatever. But the point is that you're actually increasing. And that actually compounds with whatever you're doing, which is already good in your relationship, which just makes things better and better and better. If you're obsessed with trying to be with this girl and you're worried you might lose her, you need to just be better. That's a huge worry of mine. I'm terrified with time constraints. I was with basically the love of my life. You know, I'll be brave enough and then say it, the person I'd like to make my future wife. And, you know, because I had to go to school and leave, we didn't actually get enough time for her to grow faith. Now, I can't say too much out of respect, but this is someone who was hurt in the past, someone who was damaged by another individual very severely. Like, I'm talking, like, from what I've heard. I don't know the guy, so I will not formulate an opinion on him out of respect. But it wasn't some very nice things. In fact, I'll go as far to say it was the worst thing you can go do to someone in a relationship. And because of that, I became a victim of it too, because there was a time constraint. So I'm haunted by that. That's my truth, is I'm haunted from some sort of imaginary time constraint on a relationship. So I have to prove myself within X amount of time before it's cut off, and either I was enough or I wasn't enough. But to overcome that fear, I need to work hard and be disciplined, so I'm constantly getting better, so then I can reach that threshold of, you know, being good enough for someone to the point where they don't have to be worried or concerned over leaving me once a certain threshold is met. Or I don't have to be worried about them leaving me because a certain threshold is met. I know I'm good enough. But that only comes through discipline. And finally, impulse. Of course, getting over impulse and then leading in truth. So kind of like what I said in the poll, men like to imagine this imaginary pole in the ocean is their logic. But that's not logic, because you know what logic is? It's your own perception of the world, and that can be swayed and it can be skewed. So the pole's never going to bend, it's never going to lean. So logic isn't a good word to use. Truth is. The pole is truth and factually straight. So find truth in life. Maybe truth is from religion, right? So the Bible has a lot of really good things to say in relationships. I studied and analyzed a lot about it. It's actually got some really good things. But if you're not religious, maybe the truth is just having a really objective perception of reality. Maybe you have your own perception, and then once in a while you're like, okay, let's set my own thoughts aside and then like think about the truth here. But if you can do that, if you're leading in truth, then you're not going to hurt yourself by being this pole that's swaying or contouring, or that's not a word, or by twisting in any way. You know, the pole's firm. There's no twisting or swaying. You're firm, so you're truthful. So anyways, loyalty means not entertaining what you have to lie about later. And that's an interesting one. When you cheat on someone, you're going to lie to the partner and say you didn't do it. If you're watching pornography, you're going to lie about it to the people you know. If you're overeating, you're going to lie about it because you feel shameful. So don't entertain what you're going to lie about. Don't cheat. Don't watch nonsense. Don't consume nonsense. If you're doing something that you have to lie about because you're shameful about it, don't do it. Simple as that. I've learned to overcome my shame, and in overcoming my shame, I'm honest, and then in my honesty, I'm persecuted, and then in that persecution, I realize that I shouldn't be doing things. And the alternative to that is just not doing the things you have to lie about. If you had to take a lie detector test, would you be wishing you didn't do those things? Probably. So don't lie about them. So don't do them. Why would you do something you have to lie about to your partner about? Like just don't do it. It's as simple as that. There's no explaining that one. It's as simple as that. End stop. So loyalty is not, it's not conditional, but it's conviction. So loyalty is this conviction that you have for a partner, especially masculine loyalty, which is sacrifice. You need to be convicted to do something for this person. You need to have this urge or this yearn for wanting to be gentle and wanting to be perfect for your partner, right? That's not conditional. That's not you get it whenever she's nice to you or whenever you get a kiss, all of a sudden you're loyal. No. It's all the darn time. You're going to be as loyal as possible to this person. That's how divorces happen, because men forget that they have to be loyal to this person, or women forget that they have to be loyal to this person, and then bad things happen. You need to be perfect at all times. But that's really hard for a man. And that's why good women step in to support us and care for us and support us and care for us and support us and care for us and so on and so on and so on and so on. You only get that with a good woman, though. And you only get that through being a good man. So you got to try your hardest to be perfect. And the thing is a perfect man is going to recognize his imperfections, because a perfect man is imperfect and realizing his imperfections to make himself perfect. That's what a good man is. That's what a perfect man is. The man who says, dang it, I was lusting, I'm going to try again and fix it. Or dang it, I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing, let me apologize to my partner. Or I wanted to do this, but I accidentally did this. Or I wish that and did that. That is what the perfect man is. Someone who is apologetic, someone who is forgiving, someone who is loving, someone who is appreciative. Those are all aspects of the perfect man, and you got to work towards being the best as you can in those things, and that means working towards acknowledging the times where you've fallen short and working hard to care for yourself in the event that you do fall short. Because if you burn out or fall short, and by the way, burnout doesn't come when you're tired, it comes when you forget what you're working for. That's why millionaires often burn out when they make all their money, because their pursuit and happiness in life was money, and then when they achieved it, they realized how empty it was, and then now they don't know what to pursue. That's why finding a woman is the best thing to pursue in life, because you don't ever lose your woman, you're with your woman, so then you don't burn out, you're just working. So basically here, what I'm saying is you need to just be constantly working hard, and you need to set yourself up with enough foundation to the point if anything happens, you're good and you're set regardless. So loyalty is conviction. You're convicted for it. And additionally, a loyal man is loyal to his values before he's loyal to anyone else. Which is interesting. How is that possible? But you need to be stiff-spined. You need to be this pole in the ocean. So if someone comes towards you with political beliefs you don't agree with, or religious beliefs you don't agree with, or moral beliefs you don't agree with, or anything that you don't agree with, you have to be firm. You have to have balls and stand up for yourself. Because if someone comes up to you and slaps you in the face and you're leaning, and then someone else tells you some nonsense and you're leaning around based on whatever people are telling you, how can your partner lean on you for support? How are you a safe man if you can stand up for what you believe in? Doesn't matter what you believe in, but if you can't stand up for it, if you are getting pushed around, you're not a man. Moreover, a woman like to lean on you, so a woman can be easily taught what you believe. So don't be threatened when you find someone who disagrees with you, but find faithfulness in being firm in what you believe and introducing that to others. So I'm not saying, God forbid, I'm not saying manipulate and do horrible things. Absolutely not. I really hope that's not what I'm saying sounds like. What I'm saying is you need to be firm in what you're believing. You need to be strong in what you believe in before you even find anyone else. And then a woman who naturally likes to lean on a safer man is going to find comfort in what you believe because you're so strong in what you believe. She'll think to herself, if a good man truly believes in this, and then it's probably a good thing to believe in. But it doesn't matter what you're believing in. The point is that you're a good man. So you can be believing in the right thing, but if you're a crappy man, you're just gonna show her that it's a bad thing to believe in. So if your loyalty depends on her presence too, if your loyalty is only based on when she's around, then that's not loyalty, it's just convenience. Because the true loyalty comes from being loyal when no one's around. You don't cheat when your partner's there. You don't watch porn when your parents are in the room. So true loyalty to yourself and to your others and to your family and to your girlfriend come when you're alone. So there's this discipline to it as well. Discipline in loyalty is when, if you look at it this way, loyalty is an act of daily self-control. Kind of like what I said too. You need to be loyal when you're alone. You need to push yourself when you're alone to be loyal to the people you love about. Or to be loyal about to the people you love. Choosing peace over impulse. And impulse is a big one because people are impulsive nowadays. Oh, I want to do this or I want to do that. Or they're afraid of missing things out. But, you know, you just have to work to it in discipline. You have to be constantly getting better. And a man who cannot stay loyal in absence cannot lead in presence. If you're not a good man when you're alone, you are not going to be a good man when you have a partner. End of story. If you're not a good man alone, you will not be a good man as a partner. I used to not believe that, but now I do absolutely. Because if you can't be loyal to a future woman, how are you going to be loyal to a future woman when she does arrive? So be loyal to yourself, be loyal to the future partner you might have one day, and when you do have that partner, big when, not if, when, then you will be the best man that she could ever dream of. Because you've been preparing yourself for that moment, and you're ready for that moment. And would you not want a woman who's been preparing for that moment too? So don't be the crappy men that roam this world that are taking beautiful, well-minded, perfectly spirited, and warm-souled women and ruining them by being crappy men. I am sick and tired of seeing beautiful, really, really good women who roam the world getting just tarnished by men who go into their lives and just hurt them. The thing is as men, we lead women. So if women are around seeing bad men, they're going to be bad women. If women are around seeing good men, then they will be good women. So we are almost solely responsible for the quality of women that roam this world. So you have a responsibility as a man to atone for everything else crappy men are doing and just be good. Be firm in your beliefs, be strong in your heart, and be faithful to this woman who you love, who will be with you one day. So in that, it's an act of daily control. Daily self-control. You always got to be cracking on yourself, you know, I did this, which I gotta work on. I did that, which I gotta work on. Crack down on everything that you're making wrong in your life, all your faults. Make a list of everything you gotta work on and work on it. It's hard, it takes time, but if you're not trying, then you don't deserve what you want to do. You don't deserve what you want to get. And a man who cannot stay loyal in absence cannot lead in presence, which I just said earlier, right? Reflecting to that whole daily self-control. If you can't lead yourself alone, you're not going to lead with anyone. So avoiding temptation, you got to realize, isn't weakness. People like to think that when you're leading on your own time, when you're working in your own time, when you're saying no to temptation, they think it's weak. They think it's weak to refuse a beer at a party. They think it's weak to refuse a beer at a campfire. They think it's weak to not want to go sleep around with people. They think they're a weak man. But the truth is, being a strong man with a strong heart and a strong soul comes in being strong enough to tell people no. So I was offered a beer at, from my father or from friends or from people out in the camp or whatever, and I have to say no. Why? Because the same man who hurt my partner was a man who would drink around at parties. So if I want to be loyal, I absolutely cannot do that. Absolutely cannot do that. And loyalty isn't, a yes or no, it's a yes. It's not a gray zone. There is no sometimes. There's no flirting with it. If you want to be loyal, you need to be loyal. So that means I need to be strong enough to the point where I'm never going to drink anything. And you can call me crazy. You can say, well, you're not going to go drink out with your dad. I'm Canadian, so it's pretty normal to go drinking with your father, out drinking in the bush. And I have to say, no. I'm going to be loyal to the point where I'm not going to touch alcohol. I'm not going to touch alcohol. I'm not going to touch a woman, God forbid. I'm not going to touch a cigarette. I'm not going to touch a vape. I'm not going to touch weed. Nothing. And then some. But that's the loyalty necessary if you really want to have a really good relationship with a woman. You can have relationships where you flirt with those things, but it's likely you're going to fall to temptation one way or another if you're not a good man. And in that, you're setting boundaries. But boundaries aren't limitations, they're love and structure. Now, love isn't controlling. Love isn't something you control, but it's something you build and you're constantly renovating. It's something you're constantly working on. And that building needs a structure, and that structure needs a foundation. So that foundation comes from what you're doing and the boundaries you set up. So set boundaries against all the bad things. You got to be careful though. You can't set boundaries to love. You can't set boundaries to good things. You can't set boundaries to beautiful things that build your relationships. What you do is you keep the gates wide open and you set goals. I don't want to sleep now, but we'll sleep when we have marriage. Or I don't want to do this now, but we'll do it at this point or at this point or at this point. Those are goals. Those are called goals. However, you set boundaries, which are like giant brick walls, against the bad things. And I'm saying this because if you set boundaries and box yourself up like it happened to me, to all the good things in life and all the bad things in life, eventually the bad things in life are more likely to crumble down, or the walls to the bad things in life are more likely to crawl and crumble down, because it's more tempting to fall back onto the bad things than it is to fall forward on the good things, because sometimes we wall down the good things or wall up the good things because a lot of pain can come from the good things. It hurts to love. It hurts to desire to be loved. So we fall back on all the other things. So you have to be careful to keep your gates wide open to love, keep your gates wide open to the preciousness in life, and set goals for yourself in life with your partner, and then keep everything behind you walled up so that way you don't crumble down and fall back on all the nonsense in life. And in that, you realize every act of loyalty actually strengthens yourself. It builds up those walls that block you from the nonsense in life, and it opens your gates to love even wider. It strengthens your sense of self, purpose, and peace. Now, purpose comes from your desire to do something truly good, because everything else back there is walled up, and the peace comes from obtaining whatever that good thing is. If you want to be good with a woman, then your peace comes from being with a woman. And I think being with a woman is the best purpose you could have, because I've said it like before, you get burnt out in life when you achieve what you want. But being with a partner is always ever growing. You're always growing it. So you don't get burned out. You just always are enjoying it. And they're always there to support each other. So it's ultimately the best thing you can do. And in loyalty, we find love. That's why I'm always talking about this relationship stuff, because love is what's found in loyalty. So true loyalty is love in motion, because you don't just love someone by having feelings for them, you love someone by having action. So loyalty in action is love in motion. And a man who proves love, right? A man who desires love, what he does is he proves it through what he sacrifices even when no one rewards him. Because in love there's two things for a man. In masculine love there's two things. Appreciation, so appreciating and being grateful for your woman and what she does for you and what you do for her. And then sacrifice, which means doing something even if you're not getting anything back, and more so even if you are losing something. You need to do something for your partner even if you are losing something, as a man, that is. And that is what true love is as a man. Doing something without recognition, doing something without getting anything in return, and doing something if you're hurting. That's what sacrifice is. And a man proves that when he's not rewarded. He proves that through sacrifice. And additionally, distance doesn't weaken love. I've been long ways away from my partner. I was forced to let her go. I didn't have a choice. I wanted to still hold on to this relationship, but I had to leave because I was going for school. And school is physically super duper far away and emotionally super duper far away, according to her. And I've since spent a long time away from her. But what that did is it actually built me. It made me reflect, it made me realize, it made me understand, and it built me towards being a better man. And I've made no mistakes to the point where she would be upset with what I'm doing here. I've been incredibly faithful in my loyalty this entire time, and I'm proud to say that. And what that does is it actually makes me double down on my love. It makes me realize I love her more than I ever have, and it makes me realize a true love. Because love isn't just feelings, love is truth. Love is more than just this puppy love you have or these high school feelings. It's this desire to sacrifice and die for this woman. It's this desire to appreciate everything about this woman and give her your everything and then some. Give her screw the world, give her the universe. Screw the universe, give her eternity in heaven. Give her everything you can and then some. That's loyalty, and you get that from doubling down and doubling down and doubling down when you spend time away from them. And being loyal when you have every reason not to be, or every reason to be scared of being loyal, is proof of your character. Because if you're being exposed like I am to all the nonsense of this world that wants to pull you away from loyalty, then in being loyal to your partner, it proves that you have a good character. It proves you're a good man. I would have friends, try and get me to do something stupid, and I would say, nope, absolutely not. That proves I'm a good man. That proves I'm loyal to the person I care about. And I don't want to give a crap about what they're saying because I only care about her. So what does that say about me? And of course, finally, loyalty is love that has matured past emotions. I kind of mentioned that a little bit, but loyalty is real love. And real love isn't these little feelings we have for each other. It isn't this, puppy love, as I'd like to say, or as she'd like to say, or it's not some sort of high school feelings, which younger people haven't realized yet, and she didn't realize. True love is a masculine love to the point, in men that is, where you want to sacrifice your life for her every day. You would die to yourself every day to become a better man, and you appreciate everything she does for you. That is true love as a man. So let's make loyalty our mission. So a man's loyalty to his woman starts with loyalty to his purpose. So the same way you have to be loyal to yourself and work hard on yourself, be loyal to your business. Be loyal to the fruits of your life that you want to grow by being a better tree. So grow your roots and have good roots. And in that loyalty, you'll find loyalty to your woman. And you can't be loyal to her if you keep betraying your own goals. So stop betraying your own goals. Stop cutting off the things that you so desire in life that are actually good, right? Cut off the bad things and grow the roots, the new roots that are built in your ambition and your goals, and be loyal to them, right? There's things I want to work on. There's projects I got to work on. I got to be loyal to that if I want to be loyal to my partner, because she'll see I can't even stand my own things, so how can I stand her? And faithfulness in the small habits too. So your routine, your study, your growth, you got to be loyal to that stuff. It makes you trustworthy in love. Because if a woman can see that you are a strong pull in the ocean and you're actually growing, you're completing and you're studying and you're doing things that actually make you a good man, then she'll be faithful that you'll be a good man to her. And the same discipline that keeps you from your temptation is what builds your success. The discipline that is preventing you from falling into temptation is actually growing you more than you'd realize. And additionally, staying loyal to your vision, staying loyal to what you desire in life, that is actually good, not bad, is staying loyal to your future family. Because you want a successful father, a father who has a nice cars and can build a nice house, right? That needs to be a man who once was desiring those things and was working hard to complete them. So work harder when you're younger, and then work harder than ever to achieve those things, and never be disloyal to yourself. However, unfortunately, loyalty can hurt. And you might be asking me, well, Nolan, how in the world does loyalty hurt? How is it possible for this amazing thing you're talking about to be, painful? Well, we know it's painful because you have to sacrifice a lot of things, and one of them is being lonely. Right now, I had to abandon, whether I liked it or not, a beautiful relationship. This was someone I loved, and I'll be brave enough to say it, someone who I would have wanted to make my wife one day, and I still do. Because they were so harshly punished by another man in their life, who, dare I say it, did the worst thing you could have possibly done to a woman while in a relationship, I experienced the consequences which were distrust. And because of that distrust, she didn't want to pursue a long-distance relationship as I left for school far away. So in that, I feel lonely. In my devotion to her, in my loyalty to her, even while single, I feel lonely. And in that, men have to realize, even when they are single, they can't be going out to pubs, they can't be going out drinking, they can't be doing things. They gotta be loyal to their future wife. Why would you want a woman who's been sleeping around and doing nonsense and drinking all the time when she could have been preparing herself for you? Would you not want a woman who's been preparing herself for you? So be a man who's preparing himself for her, and that means being lonely sometimes, especially when others laugh at it. I've been ridiculed by my own father, my own mother, my family, my loved ones, all my friends. They think I'm ridiculous. But you know what? Screw them. I love this woman more than anything. I could search the entire universe. I can go to the furthest ends of the cosmos and find less detail in every planet and every galaxy than just looking into her eyes. I could search every galaxy in the whole world and find less happiness than in her smile. There's nothing greater than just seeing her and listening to her voice, because it's heavenly, it's beautiful. And I've been laughed at, I've been ridiculed, and it's incomparable, it's insignificant, it's negligible compared to the amount of pure, raw fulfillment I will feel being in a relationship with her. And that's the interesting thing, is all that pain, all that difficulty, all that loneliness that comes from being loyal to someone, it's not crappy. It's a reminder of how happy you'll be when you are with them. It's a reminder of who you're working for, why you're working, and why it's so special. And even though you'll look foolish to the world, ultimately when you achieve that goal, when you achieve it, they'll be looking like idiots. Because by the time you're married, by the time you're happy, they'll just be realizing it's important. So in that, there's no need to boast. Because I've thought to myself, oh, I'll boast, I'll tell everyone who ever doubted me they were wrong and I was right. But the true goal is just having that lovely relationship. Not a controlling one, but one where I can give my everything and not be ashamed of it. One where I can sacrifice everything as a man and love the most I can and just be a good person in the most beautiful, holy way. So I don't need to boast. I don't need people to see it. I need to be loyal is what I need. And loyalty means waiting even when you're impatient. And goodness me, am I impatient. It means sacrificing what you hold close, and it means oftentimes being misunderstood. But they'll understand when they reach that point in their life, and they'll understand you are ahead of the game. But loyalty through pain becomes peace through strength, and it becomes peace through your purpose. So your purpose in life, no matter what it be, if you're loyal to it, even if there's pain, that pain will turn into peace. Because you'll achieve it and you'll realize, wow, it was worth it, right? It was so worth it. When you go to the gym for 10 years, you'll think your body was worth it. When you have a beautiful partner, after being loyal for them, you'll say it's worth it. And it'll be a no-brainer. Obviously, it was worth it. You have something that is so beautiful that everyone naturally craves, and it was because you worked hard for it. And it's not just beautiful, it's amazing. Because you chose to make it so much better. Because you chose to be loyal. Right? By choosing to preserve yourself for one woman, you're not letting that other person you are with influence your relationship with them, as opposed to sleeping with as many people as possible, and now you're never able to have a really good relationship. So when you stay true, even while it hurts, you're actually showing yourself who you are, and you're learning who you are. You're learning that you're the man, the good man, who is so faithful to his partner that he's risking all the pain in the world just to have immeasurable amounts of happiness that then even makes that pain completely negligible. But overall, loyalty is the mark of a man who loves deeply and lives truthfully. And I mean real love, not puppy love, not the stuff people say that is like high school feelings. I mean that real masculine love that involves sacrifice, not just random feelings. That's who I am. That's the love I experience on a daily basis for this person. And you don't prove loyalty when it's easy. Again, remember, it's hard. It's challenging. You only do it usually, well, most of the time you do it when you're alone, right? You don't watch porn when your parents are in the room, so you're not going to cheat on someone when your partner is. You prove loyalty when you're alone. You prove loyalty when, life gives you examples. Life gives you reasons or purpose or moments when someone tries to test your loyalty, and you succeed by proving your loyalty to them. That's where you do it. That's where it's hard, not when it's easy. So stay loyal to your values as well. If someone wants to take you away from your values, why would you let them? So stay loyal to your values. A woman wants to find that sturdy pole in the sea, not a pole who's leaning under its own weight. Right? How can a ship take its anchor to the ocean floor if the ocean floor is crumbling under its own mass? So let yourself be the strongest you can be and support yourself even if no one else is there to help you, so that way she can find safety in your being. And of course, the world may call you old-fashioned, the world may call you crazy, but in a world full of distractions, let your loyalty be divine. My name is Nolan T. Painter, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.